There is nothing impossible to him who will try. Without knowledge, skill cannot be focused. Without skill, strength cannot be brought to bear. And without strength, knowledge may not be applied. Through every generation of the human race there has been a constant war, a war with fear. Those who have the courage to conquer it are made free, and those who are conquered by it are made to suffer until they have the courage to defeat it, or death takes them. Let us conduct ourselves so that all men wish to be our friends, and all fear to be our enemies. I am indebted to my father for living, but to my teacher for living well. When we give someone our time, we actually give a portion of our life that we will never take back. True love never has a happy ending, because there is no ending to true love. I would rather live a short life of glory than a long one of obscurity. Bury my body and don't build any monument. Keep my hands out so the people know the one who won the world had nothing in hand when he died. In the end, when it's over, all that matters is what you've done. Wise people learn when they can, fools learn when they must. Being born in a stable does not make one a horse. Educate men without religion, and you make them clever devils. The whole art of war consists of guessing at what is on the other side of the hill. Be discreet in all things, and so render it unnecessary to be mysterious. The hardest thing of all for a soldier is to retreat. The only thing I am afraid of is fear. Troops would never be deficient in courage if they could only know how deficient in it their enemies were. Victory is the ability to fight 5 minutes longer than any other army in the world. The Battle of Waterloo was won on the playing fields of Eton. Great things are achieved only when we take great risks. He who cannot stand misfortune does not deserve good fortune. Be more than you seem to be. We are made for action, and activity is the sovereign remedy for all physical ills. The greatest and noblest pleasure which men can have in this world is to discover new truths, and the next is to shake off old prejudices. Every man has a wild beast within him. The more I see of men, the better I like my dog. It has been said by a certain general that the first object in the establishment of an army ought to be making provision for the belly, that being the basis and foundation of all operations. Great advantage is drawn from knowledge of your adversary, and when you know the measure of his intelligence and character, you can use it to play on his weakness. A man with his heart in his profession imagines and finds resources where the worthless and lazy despair. He who defends everything defends nothing. Diplomacy without military might is like music without instruments. A crown is merely a hat that lets the rain in. Books make up no small part of human happiness. The people say what they like, and then I do what I like. Do not try to make circumstances fit your plans. Make plans that fit the circumstances. A good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Better to fight for something than live for nothing. The object of war is not to die for your country, but to make the other bastard die for his. Give me an army of West Point graduates, and I'll win a battle. Give me a handful of Texas Aggies, and I'll win a war. If everyone is thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking. Make the mind run the body. Never let the body tell the mind what to do. The body will always give up. Never tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. You cannot be disciplined in great things and undisciplined in small things. Always do more than is required of you. I don't measure a man's success by how high he climbs, but how high he bounces when he hits bottom. It is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived. When there is fear of failure, there will be failure. Fear kills more people than death. No good decision was ever made in a swivel chair. If we come to a minefield, our infantry attacks exactly as it were not there. The longer the battle lasts, the more force we'll have to use. We will do all we can to ensure peace, but if war is imposed upon us, we will be together shoulder to shoulder, as in the last war, to strive for the happiness of mankind. It is a fact that under equal conditions, large-scale battles and whole wars are won by troops which have a strong will for victory, clear goals before them, high moral standards, and devotion to the banner under which they go into battle. Winning depended to a large extent on the determination of the troops and the officers. The certainty that we were going to win kept up everyone's spirits, from privates to generals. The nature of encounter operations required of the commander's limitless initiative and constant readiness to take the responsibility for military actions. The mere existence of atomic weapons implies the possibility of their use. There's no smoke without fire. I will either find a way or make one. Many things which nature makes difficult become easy to the man who uses his brains. Perception is a tool that's pointed on both ends. Words are living things. They have personality, point of view, agenda. It's not what you appreciate, it's that you appreciate. As your mother tells you, and my mother certainly told me, it is important, she always used to say, always to try new things. Dogs keep a promise a person can't. God has given to man no sharper spur to victory than contempt of death. Experience is the teacher of all things. It is better to create than to learn. Creating is the essence of life. Men in general are quick to believe that which they wish to be true. As a rule, what is out of sight disturbs men's minds more seriously than what they see. It is easier to find men who will volunteer to die than to find those who are willing to endure pain with patience. Without training, they lacked knowledge. Without knowledge, they lacked confidence. Without confidence, they lacked victory. The greatest enemy will hide in the last place you would ever look. A coward dies 1,000 deaths, the gallant never taste of death but once. If I fail it, is only because I have too much pride and ambition. It is better to suffer once than to be in perpetual apprehension. All bad precedents begin as justifiable measures. If you must break the law, do it to seize power. In all other cases, observe it. The difference between a republic and an empire is the loyalty of one's army. I came, I saw, I conquered. In the end, it is impossible not to become what others believe you are. If you are truthful, you will survive. If you lie, you shall perish. The earth destroys its fools, but the intelligent destroy the earth. If you want a thing done well, do it yourself. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Nothing is more difficult, and therefore more precious, than to be able to decide. Take time to deliberate, but when the time for action comes, stop thinking and go in. Courage isn't having the strength to go on. It is going on when you don't have strength. Impossible is a word to be found only in the dictionary of fools. The only victories which leave no regret are those which are gained over ignorance. Religion is excellent stuff for keeping common people quiet. Religion is what keeps the poor from murdering the rich. Show me a family of readers, and I will show you the people who move the world. Men are moved by two levers only: fear and self-interest. In politics, stupidity is not a handicap. A leader is a dealer in hope. Imagination governs the world. History is written by the winners. History is a set of lies agreed upon. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. There is no instance of a nation benefiting from prolonged warfare. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. All warfare is based on deception. Hence, when we are able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must appear inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When far away, we must make him believe we are near. In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. It is more important to outthink your enemy than to outfight him. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. To know your enemy, you must become your enemy. When you surround an army, leave an outlet free. Do not press a desperate foe too hard. Treat your men as you would your own beloved sons, and they will follow you into the deepest valley. Knowledge is not power, it is only potential. Applying that knowledge is power. Understanding why and when to apply that knowledge is wisdom. Learning is to a man as the leaves and branches are to a tree, and it can be said that he should not be without it. Men with discrimination will be viewed as schemers. Second, men with deep farsightedness will be seen as cowards. And third, men with rough behavior will be mistaken for real warriors. These are great errors. One who was born in the house of a warrior, regardless of his rank or class, first acquaints himself with a man of military feats and achievements in loyalty. Everyone knows that if a man doesn't hold filial piety toward his own parents, he would also neglect his duties toward his Lord. Such a neglect means a disloyalty toward humanity. Therefore, such a man doesn't deserve to be called samurai. A man with deep farsightedness will survey both the beginning and the end of a situation and continually consider its every facet as important. Arouse a bee, and it will come at you with the force of a dragon. Zen has no secrets other than seriously thinking about life and death. If we are to have another contest in the near future of our national existence, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's, but between patriotism and intelligence on the one side, and superstition, ambition, and ignorance on the other. The most confident critics are generally those who know the least about the matter criticized. Cheap cigars come in handy, they stifle the odor of cheap politicians. Nations, like individuals, are punished for their transgressions. Anything is better than indecision. We must decide. If I am wrong, we shall soon find out and can do the other thing. But not to decide wastes both time and money and may ruin everything. Let us labor for the security of free thought, free speech, pure morals, unfettered religious sentiments, and equal rights and privileges for all men, irrespective of nationality, color, or religion. Leave the matter of religious teaching to the family altar, the church, and the private school, supported entirely by private contribution. Keep church and state forever separate. The will of the people is the best law. Two commanders on the same field are always one too many. In every battle, there comes a time when both sides consider themselves beaten, then he who continues the attack wins. The art of war is simple enough. Find out where your enemy is. Get at him as soon as you can. Strike him as hard as you can, and keep moving on. Wars produce many stories of fiction, some of which are told until they are believed to be true. I have never advocated war except as means of peace, so seek peace, but prepare for war. Because war never changes. War is like winter, and winter is coming. The friend in my adversity I shall always cherish most. I can better trust those who help to relieve the gloom of my dark hours than those who are so ready to enjoy with me the sunshine of my prosperity. The fact is, I think I am a verb instead of a personal pronoun. A verb is anything that signifies to be, to do, or to suffer. I signify all three.